The unfair criminal justice system. The Philippine criminal justice system is a topic that has stirred up a lot of controversy throughout time. The justice system was created to control crime and punish those who commit illegal actions. Without this system, our country would crumble and fall. However, it seems that many people are unsure of the Philippine criminal justice system. What do you think? Is it fair or is it not? Let's find out and dig deeper to the dark side of the criminal justice system in the Philippines. Our judicial machine is a key factor of our democratic manner of life. It upholds peace, order, and appropriate government. Citizens' appearance to the judiciary to uphold their rights, and government appearance to the courts to interpret laws. The judiciary have to act without worry of effective interest and without favoring person parties. However, it seems like justice is hard to come by in the Philippines. It seems only the rich get justice compared to those people who struggled most of their lives. Throughout hundreds of years, people have been treated justly and unjustly by this system. What is the state of justice in the Philippines? Has corruption eroded the one noble profession? Is justice really for sale? The criminal justice system in the Philippines is unpredictable, biased, corrupt, and most of all, slow. An ideal criminal justice system is characterized by the opposites of these four adjectives mentioned: predictable, impartial, incorruptible, and fast. Unfortunately, justice in our country is discriminatory between the rich and the poor. It grinds very slowly to favor the privileged ones. Deny it or not, you can't hide the fact that we have lopsided justice. Despite big news on drug raids worth billions of pesos and those caught red-handed, nobody has ever been jailed. Where is the justice there? A court in the Philippines has sentenced Imelda Marcos to prison for corruption. The wife of the late President Ferdinand Marcos were found guilty of 7 counts of violating the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. She was sentenced to between 6 and 11 years in prison for each count. Imelda Marcos was not present at the court, but a warrant has now been issued for her arrest. The case has been pending with the Anti-Graft Court for 27 years. Unfortunately, no matter how much money she embezzled in our country, she was still allowed to bail. In some other cases, Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, the former Philippine president, has been charged with electoral fraud and corruption. On November 18, 2011, Arroyo was arrested and held at the Veterans Memorial Medical Center in Quezon City under charges of electoral sabotage but released on bail on July 2012. These charges were later dropped for lack and evidence. She was re-arrested in October 2012 on charges of misuse $8.8 million in state lottery funds. She was given a hospital arrest, allegedly due to the life-threatening health condition certified by her doctors. On July 19, 2016, she was acquitted by the Supreme Court by a vote of 11-4 under administration of her ally Rodrigo Duterte. In the end, the Philippine Supreme Court dismissed a plunder case against former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo and ordered her freed immediately after nearly 5 years of hospital detention. A decision the grateful ex-leader indicated can help her deal with those who, through self-serving interpretation and implementation of the law, made her suffer. The 15 justices voted 11-4 to grant Arroyo's petition, seeking to dismiss the case before the Special Anti-Graft Sandigang Bayan Court because of insufficient evidence, Supreme Court spokesman Chudor Del said. It seems like these two women who committed corruption in our country are very lucky, don't you think? It feels like getting justice in our courts needs lot of money, favor, and bundle of luck. But what about the other party? A judge in Olongapo City was suspended recently for allegedly taking bribes and dismissing cases against child rapists. The Supreme Court administrators have acted against many more corrupt judges. In May 22, 2015, the horrific story of alleged murder, sexual abuse, torture with electric shock, and severe physical beating of an 11-year-old girl and her companion Miriam was reported. It was April 5, 2015, Holy Week, when Chastity Mirabilis, the 11-year-old street child, and her friend, 11-year-old Miriam, were kicked awake on the pavement where they were sleeping. They, the throwaway children of Cebu, thrown in a police car and brought to the police station. There, allegedly they suffered sexual abuse, torture, and brutality to amuse and gratify the sexual urges of the police at the Fuente police station. The next day, Chastity and Miriam were thrown out of the police station, and soon after, Chastity died from her wounds, the brutal beatings and electric shock given to her. Marian survived but is traumatized. But she was still able to give a graphic testimony as to what happened. It is chilling tale of police corruption and barbarity, isn't it? Many more street children are being abused and put cells with male adult prisoners and are abused. It's all illegal, but the police put themselves above the law and can accuse and frame up anybody.
In specific cases that is happening in our country, more than 7,000 people were killed in the brutal war on drugs in the Philippines between July 2016 and January 2017, under instruction from the country's president, Rodrigo Duterte. Duterte ordered Philippines police forces to kill anyone they believed to be connected to the drugs trade when he assumed office in June 2016. State forces and vigilante groups have followed through these orders ruthlessly. Police often claim that a drug suspect opened fire on them and was then killed in a shootout. But we found out that instead that people are being executed and framed by the police who plant guns and drugs on the bodies. The gunmen wear masks and try to make sure there are no witnesses. But there are some people who saw the shooting and planting of evidence. This is an organized government-sanctioned campaign of executions of drug suspects. This brings to mind the case where an unfortunate teenager, Kian de los Santos, was shot to death during an Open Galugad operation in Caloocan City on the night of August 16, 2017. Police claimed that Kian shot at them, forcing them to fire back. Recovered from Kian was a caliber .45 guns and 2 sachets of suspected shabu. His relatives said that neither belonged to him. With CCTV footage that belied policemen's claims that he shot them and resisted arrest, and an eyewitness who said he told officers that he had exams the following day. The death of 17-year-old Kian Lloyd Del Santos gave a face to the yet-to-be-determined number of innocents who could have fallen to the Duterte government's ongoing war on drugs. It has been 3 years since Kian de los Santos was killed defenseless by policemen in a dark corner in Caloocan City. They claimed he fought back. The CCTV footage showed otherwise. He is among over 5,600 drug suspects killed by the PNP as of August 2020. There may be justice in our country, but it also happens to us that one has to die first before he gets justice. It's long past the time for the Philippines to clean up its justice system and catch up with reality. Congress needs to change that draconian law that makes the Filipinos look ridiculous, cruel, and uncaring. It is a law that has been used to condemn many young people, destroy their lives, burden them with a criminal record for life, and now the law, used in this way, destroys the reputation and good name of an innocent man. There is no denying that justice in our country is very selective. It favors money and power. They can buy their freedom, and if they are ever jailed, they can have all the comforts of living in their cells. The rich and powerful spend tens of millions paying law officers, lawyers, and judges to be absolved of crimes. Let us see, one by one, what are the differences regarding treatment of rich criminals and poor criminals in the Philippines, starting with the first step, the process of being arrested. Rich, with escorts to avoid escape, while the poor, this is how they escort alleged criminals to avoid escape. Meanwhile, in prison cells, rich, checking if the area will be fit for the detainee. Poor, shove them in where there's still space to breathe. In medical attention, when the rich get sick, primary checkup with the military medics, and when results are in, will be provided by a resident doctor from St. Luke or Makati Med. When the poor get sick, take that Coke bottle and make it into a breathing apparatus. Okay na yan! Reasons for incarceration. Rich criminal example number 1. Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. She has done a lot of crimes during her term as a president, but she still managed to be freed. Poor criminal example number 1. Reyna May Nasino. Reyna May Nasino is Manila youth leader, Tondo community organizer, and 8-month pregnant detainee at Manila City Jail. She is an activist facing trumped-up cases whose continuing detention reflects the worsening human rights situation under the government of Rodrigo Duterte. It may seem unfair to those people who were treated unfairly by serving justice, but it is sad to say that the justice in our country is unequal for the rich and poor. We have corrupt justices and other court officials, and justice is for sale in our country. For the right price, the rich and those with connections, justice is for sale. But for the poor and without connections, they just wallow in injustice. The prison is replete with stories of justice not served. Many were victims of merciless fate, and because they did not have the money to pursue their cases, they ended up inside those cells, serving their sentence, while the real culprits remain scot-free. They just accept their fate. That's the sad truth. The justice system in the Philippines is very slow, due to the process of a case is not effective in the country because it takes too long to solve, whereas most cases last for a year before being processed. From then until now, there are many Filipinos who experience this kind of system. Government officials enacted the laws in our society, and human rights are protected by law, but sometimes the lawmakers are the reason why people don't get justice and the rights of the people. The lawmakers said that human rights are important, but it seems that they just say it in words to impress many people, but they can't do it by actions. It's very disappointing that the people you expected to help you are the ones who abused you. They used their powers to make the wrong actions right. Like Imelda Marcos. She stole money from the country's fund, but she was not imprisoned. But when it comes to street children, they immediately judge them. They were called the leaders and lawmakers, but they don't know how to value it. The government officials should be truthful to the members of society so that everyone will have the justice needed and equal rights for everyone. The leaders should be truthful to the nation they are ruling so that the members will do the same. It is very important to treat others with justice and fairness because all of us in this world are born equal and free. All of us must be treated equally because we all deserve justice and fairness, for it is the key to a peaceful world. The leaders of the society who has power are the ones who can solve this problem, and they can do this by being the role model for the whole society. The injustice system of the Philippines has existed for a long time, and it needs to be ended so that we could live with equality.